Sorry, Tara. We have a full agenda, and with council's consent, we will adjust the schedule or the agenda somewhat to accommodate our engineer first and foremost. So Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Drouillard, that the meeting of the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich opens at 5 p.m. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. Does council have a declaration of pecuniary interest? Councillor Drouillard.
Yes, I do. I have on item 7A, zoning bylaw amendment 0623 for 239 Miller Road. The applicant, Thames Valley District School Board, is my employer, so I am declaring a pecuniary interest.
Thank you. I see no other. And we will, item 3, adoption of the draft minutes. Everyone was circulated the October 11th minutes. Is there any additions, errors, or omissions? I don't see any. The minutes will be adopted as presented to council. Number 4, Clerk Tara, is there anything that's not on the agenda?
No.
Thank you. We're going to go to item 6, which is our guests from Elgin County. We have Don Shropshire and Carolyn Cron with us with an exciting initiative that the county council has implemented or going to move forward with it. So go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mayor Hens. So we are here today to talk about how we can set up planning and economic development in the county to make sure that we make the most of the investments that are happening in Elgin and the region at this time. So that includes the Amazon facility as well as PowerCo SE, which is being constructed in the city of St. Thomas. So these developments are generating a lot of economic interest in the region, and we are already seeing an increasing demand in land supply or land demand. So we would like to maximize these benefits for the community through careful planning. And the goal of today's presentation is to help you define the growth that you would like to see for Dutton Dunwich. So with the PowerCo SE Gigafactory happening in St. Thomas, it's not just a factory, it's also a catalyst for economic change. It's expected to create 3,000 direct jobs and thousands of more indirect jobs. And we've seen that number as high as 30,000 jobs. So there is a potential for a lot of job growth in this area. This will result in increasing job competition, and population growth will have a regional impact. So some of our existing businesses may see increasing competition for employees. So Elgin County, St. Thomas, London and beyond will be competing for some of the ancillary type businesses. So the PowerCo SE Gigafactory is expected to bring with it a lot of factories and manufacturing that will supply it. And they are potentially looking to locate close to St. Thomas. So that might be directly in St. Thomas, that might be in Elgin County, or these jobs might happen in London, Oxford County, and surrounding areas. So they will be happening somewhere in this region. So as businesses flock here, skilled labor competition will intensify, and these influx of jobs will attract a diverse range of people. So assessing what our workforce needs are and investing in the training for these skilled positions are crucial, and we also need to support our existing businesses in all of this development to make sure that their workforce needs are not being overlooked. So to support this growth, careful financial and planning, land use planning is essential to support the demands not only of business, but also of housing, commercial needs, also agricultural needs. With all of this land demand, we need to make sure that we balance all of the different needs in this area. So infrastructure upgrades are also another thing that need to be considered with all of this growth. Infrastructure is needed to support those the growth in housing and industry. So along with this comes considerations around housing affordability and supply, transportation, education, healthcare, public safety, social services, etc. So all of these are things that we need to consider when we're talking about growth. And as we're looking at how we want our communities to grow, we also need to consider a community engagement. So aligning the developments in our community with community priorities is vital. So when we have all of this growth, we need to make sure that we're in a position to welcome newcomers and immigrants. We need to make sure that our communities are places that the newcomers will feel welcome. And in community engagement plays a pivotal role in this. So along with growth, there are some benefits that we can realize. So some of these benefits are increased tax revenue, job creation, economic stimulation, and improved infrastructure. An increase in industrial tax revenue will support the increase in service levels required by population growth. And all of this growth can also enhance property values and foster community vibrancy. And again, sustainable and well-planned growth is essential for long-term benefits and financial success for the community. So as we prepare for development, there are some things that we would like to get your feedback on as well. So we would like to understand the type and level of growth that you would like. Are you interested in attracting more residents? Would you like to grow your commercial businesses? Would you like to attract and grow your industrial tax base? What kinds of incentives do you think we need to attract the growth that you're looking for? Or do you think the proximity to St. Thomas and the PowerCo SE is sufficient incentive to attract the residents and that industrial development as well? So the next slide has some questions that we can open the floor up for discussion. So what is the appetite in your community to welcome investment? How aggressively would you like to pursue growth? In terms of incentives to attract businesses, how aggressive do you think we should be? Are these necessary, or is our location incentive enough? And how welcoming will our communities be to newcomers? And what steps can we take to make sure that we will have welcoming communities? And with that, I'll take a little pause in case any of you have any questions or would like to provide any feedback.
This initiative, I'll start, by Carolyn and the county, but they're looking for input from the municipalities, the reason they're here, and not everybody's looking for the same thing. I think we recognize that. And Dutton Dunwich, with our lack of serviceable industrial land, we come to the conclusion that we're close enough that is it residential growth? So county's looking for some input from the municipality on where do we see our growth happening. And I think we recognize that it will come. So please, your comments, questions?
I think we'd like to see some industrial out here as well, but we have to also realize that the land that we have surfaced and designated as industrial is all under private ownership, and that presents a problem when you go to negotiate with people. It seems if there's interest, the price goes up. So we haven't had a lot of success in doing that, but our location on 401 and the fact we are serviced should make us have some interest there. And I know you're talking here a little later on about doing the land inventory, and I think we really need to talk to those people who have purchased that industrial property. Everybody seems to want to build a truck stop, and I'm sure we need one, let alone four. So I think we need to have some negotiations with those people.
Any other comments from council? Councilor Dreyfus.
I think this is a very good approach to take, is to open the door to discussion, and it causes us to think where our growth is going to come from as a municipality and what we can sustain as growth, and we know what our infrastructure needs look like, as we're dealing with that on a regular basis right now. So, sometimes growth is forced on you, and I think we're in that position, especially if the economic situation changes, it's going to start all over again, where, you know, if interest rates level out and things start to settle down a little bit, I think the market's going to take off again. It's positioning itself already. So I'm in the camp where we are in a position where we have no choice but to look at it. And also economically, tax revenue, I don't think we have a choice either. I think we have to expand our tax base or we're going to struggle as a municipality, as a small municipality. And that's just my personal point of view, but I'm glad it's at the table, and us as a council and community is going to have to engage in these discussions.
Councillor Goulart.
Yeah, and just to add to what Deputy Mayor Loveland was saying about industrial growth, it is something that I wish we could move forward with, because we are the first fully serviced municipality west of London on the 401 corridor.
Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, I think this is a great initiative. I agree with Councillor Gerard and Deputy Mayor Loveland that it'd be nice to see industrial growth out here. It certainly helps your tax base. You know, with any growth, you know, it comes financial problems, and we're seeing that currently, trying to expand wastewater treatment plants and other things. So along with this growth, it'd certainly be nice to see from county, provincial, federal levels, some sort of assistance for municipalities to be able to sustain this growth. Otherwise, it's almost impossible to grow. But yeah, absolutely interested in welcoming newcomers and having more residential and industrial growth in the municipality.
Okay, go ahead. Don?
Thank you. Appreciate the comments very much. One of the things that we are wanting to explore with councils is the additional level of community engagement you'd like to see. It's clear that, you know, this group has, you know, got some definite ideas in terms of where we should be growing and some of the benefits to the community. Helping us clarify where things are going to go, how much growth, how quickly. That's something else that we're looking for some guidance from council as to whether there's other community engagement that you'd like to see to help guide some of the decision making that we're both local council and county council is going to have to make. So that's one of the things that Carolyn will talk about a little bit more. There are several options available. But on the good news side of the story is, I think the things that you've expressed today are all doable. The idea that we're going to bring more taxes to the community, that makes it less of a burden for everybody. The fact that most of the industrialized land is held by private sector, absolutely great. In fact, our job might be to, you know, help work with the private sector landowners so that we can develop their property, whether it's a community business park that's owned by the county or by the local municipality or by a private business. We're not competing with each other. We're trying to help each other. So we do everything we could to help promote the growth in those areas where you'd like to see the growth. So, and if there's some negotiation goes along, then I hope some of our local community people that own land have an opportunity to generate a profit and do some good things with it, because we're going to be happy to get the taxes and help subsidize all the other good stuff. With respect to senior government, there has been some indication already that the government wants to make sure that some of the investments they've already made are going to be successful. So when you talk about multi-billion-dollar investments in the Volkswagen electrical battery plant, there's a very high level of commitment from both the federal and the provincial governments to make sure they're going to be successful. The flip side is nobody's walked in with a bag of money and said, Dutton Dunwich, County of Elgin, you know, here's your share of the money. But we will work with senior levels of government to try and make sure that if there's monies available, that's terrific. One of the things that Carolyn's going to talk about in just a moment is we do have an application to go forward to the senior level of government to obtain some funds so we can actually organize better to receive the growth and to help inform our decision making around future growth. So I don't want to steal your thunder on any of those sort of things. So But I'm encouraged to figure out where we're going to go with this. I think the one piece that I didn't hear today, that part of that community engagement, I think we need to come back to is Dutton Dunwich also has a very rich agricultural community. I mean, that's been a economic engine for us for years. So, you know, we also want to make sure we're being respectful of that and making sure that that's being taken into consideration with any growth. And I know that's important to this council as well. So let me stop there and hand it back to you. Thank you.
You know, I just want to comment on our industrial, and we're all hoping for that. But being in private hands and some of the things we heard don't fit in with what's happening in Elgin County. So how do you deal with that? But I think maybe reaching out and speaking to the landowners, that there is a vision here. And it may not include what we're hearing at this time, Ken. So, okay.
Thank you. So along with all of this exciting growth, there are some other things that we do need to look at and consider as well. One of those are the costs that are involved with growth. So these costs apply to different levels of government as well as across the private and public sector. So for example, municipalities are considering things like water, wastewater, planning, roads, cultural services, all of those services that need to be expanded to serve a growing population. School boards will need to plan for more schools, more staff, and things like that. And then the private sector will need to focus on investing in housing development, commercial development, and also industrial development. So again, there are costs involved with growth. Economic development costs involved include business attraction efforts. So we want to make sure that we're going out there and actively seeking these investments, and also workforce development initiatives. We want to make sure that there are enough workers to fill the jobs that are available in Elgin County. And then effective financial planning is key to making sure that these initiatives are sustainable and that they benefit our communities. So there are multiple different funding sources that we can look at for this planning, and these include property taxes, grants, debentures, development charges, and user fees. We can also take a look at partnerships with other municipalities for things like water and wastewater and other utilities. We can also explore public-private partnerships for some of these infrastructure projects as well, and that's something that we are doing. We're meeting with the different private entities who do utilities and seeing what sort of partnerships are available and how we can fund some of these projects. And then we also have a question around what are the expectations that we can have of provincial and federal government for supporting these initiatives as well. So that's maybe still a bit of a question, but something that we need to keep in consideration as well. And then another point where we can discuss things as well. So how much are you willing to invest to drive growth forward? So do you see any opportunities for collaboration between your municipality, the county, and potentially the city and other neighboring municipalities? So when does it make sense to work together, and when might there be some conflicts as well? And when it comes to infrastructure, is it feasible for us to make some shared investments here in areas like water and wastewater, and perhaps public transportation as well? So with that, if you'd like, we can take a little break to discuss some of these.
I think I can speak to that. We have a wastewater issue here. Senior levels of government have heard that story so many times. And I think development here and resident, anything depends on us correcting that problem. That's number one on our priority list. If we solve that, I think we're in good shape. Unless anybody else has further to add to that.
So I know that there has been some discussion already. Your chief administrative officer has been active in sort of reaching out to find out whether there's opportunities for collaborate with both West Elgin and also South Wold. In addition, we've been trying to set up initial meetings with utility companies that not only have a responsibility to provide water and wastewater, but also can offer some different types of investment strategy so that the taxpayer doesn't have to put all the money up front. And I think, you know, for any community, that becomes a big burden and it's a financial hardship. So what the mayor just said, I think, is something that we're recognizing. So we have reached out to a number of these private companies, and as soon as they've given us some indication as to what they're prepared to come to the table, we want to invite local council members that are interested in taking part in those services to the table, so you can hear what's on offer and see whether that's a right sort of a solution to you to address some of the challenges that the mayor's already mentioned. No bag of money yet, but there's some options there that we haven't explored before.
Right. So with planning for all of this growth, we need to make sure that we're not neglecting our existing businesses. So we are launching our business retention and expansion initiative next month. We already had a meeting with a leadership team that is going to guide this initiative last week. So again, growth presents opportunities and challenges for our existing businesses. Some opportunities may be to supply PowerCo SE with some materials, or again, with residential growth, our commercial businesses may see some benefit as well. But then there are also some challenges that they may experience around workforce retention and issues like that. So our goal is to understand our local businesses, their opportunities and challenges better, to really understand what areas we as the County Economic Development Department can support them. What kind of programs and services can we offer to make sure that our county is a friendly place for business? So this program is also designed to strengthen our relationships with existing businesses and to address any immediate concerns. So when we're out and about meeting with these businesses, if we learn about a pressing need that they have, this is something that we can share through our leadership team with some of the existing supports in the community and see what we can do to help them with those. So again, this initiative is being led by a county-wide leadership team. You have 2 representatives from Dutton Dunwich sitting on that leadership team, CAO Tracy Johnson and Councillor Henry Dryfoot, and they will be offering their expertise of Dutton Dunwich to this. So we'll be interviewing about 70 plus businesses in Elgin County, and then taking a look at what we learn and coming up with an action plan on how we can support our businesses. And we'll keep you informed throughout the process. We're developing a webpage that will give more information about this as well. And we'll share that information with Tracy and Councillor Dryfoot, who can share it out to all of council. So we would be very happy if you would champion this program in the community and get businesses on board, because we really would like to have this conversation with them. And then the other initiative that we are taking a look at is creating an investment attraction strategy or plan. So this is what we are doing for our application to FedDev. And the goal is to position Elgin County for industrial growth and to attract new investment. So there are some things that we need to put in place in order to be investment ready. So that involves clarifying our goals with all of our local municipal partners, making sure that we understand how you would like to grow, what your capacity is for growth, and the work that still needs to be done to get where you would like to be. So along with that, we will be updating the county-wide vacant land inventory, and we'd also like to complete a master servicing study so we can better understand the services that are currently available county-wide and what the gaps are. So if we're taking a look at our vacant industrial or residential lands where you would like to grow, what services are available there and what services are not available. And then this master servicing study would also provide options and opportunity or ways that you could address those gaps. And so again, once we've identified those gaps and how we can potentially address them, we'll be taking a look at our incentives. So what sort of incentives do we need to attract the business or the growth that you'd like to see? And then we're also working on streamlining our planning processes, and Dawn will be speaking more about that in just a little bit. And the last 2 pieces are developing our workforce attraction and retention plan, and then creating a marketing and lead generation strategy. So we're not just going to be waiting around for the growth to come to us. We want to go out there and actively seek that growth, meet with businesses who may be interested in expanding, locating to Ontario, and then bring that growth where we'd like to see it. And then some next steps. There are some questions for you here that we can discuss now, or you can take some time to think about and get back to us later. But what are your goals for residential, commercial, and industrial development? How do you want to engage with your community to assess its appetite for welcoming growth? What is your plan to support infrastructure development? And how can we support the costs of this development? And then how can you champion the BRE program in your communities? And with that, I think that is the end of my presentation. So if you have any questions for me, or if you'd like to discuss this further, you can do that. Otherwise, I can hand things over to Don.
Still on the questions you have here. Thought I hit it. The questions you have here, Carolyn, if we could give some thought to that, and we'll have staff report back to you. Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Don.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to piggyback just for a moment on some of the things that Carolyn said, everybody has seen a huge amount of press talking about the new businesses coming to Elgin County. So whether it's the battery plant or whether it's the Amazon, and it's terrific. But I hope you heard a clear message that our existing businesses, they deserve as much or more love for having been here for years, providing taxes, employing our people. So any incentives we're offering to try and attract new businesses, we want to make sure those same types of incentives will be available to our existing businesses in Elgin County, in Dutton Dunwich, so that they also have an opportunity to grow their businesses to, whether it's associated with the Volkswagen plant or whether it's just new people coming to the community and they're offering services and selling things to them. So that's a super important point. We want to make sure that we're giving back to people that have been giving to our community for years. So we'll come back to you with that in due course. Just a couple of other quick points. I know you've got a full agenda, but with respect to some of the growth that's taking place, at the same time as we're planning for that, we're also trying to look for ways to try and get as cost-effective delivery of services to our community as possible. And we're all feeling, inflationary pressures. We're looking at challenges not only to provide cost-effective services, but also to attract and retain staff. That's all sectors of the economy, including public service. So the things that we are exploring, and I'll just use one example of planning services tonight. I know in fact, I hope Tracy's online listening to our presentation, but your existing contracted planner, at some point, she, like myself, have plans to retire, and it'd be really nice if we had a succession plan in place so that we could provide services going into the future. What we're looking at now, after consulting with both county council and also the chief administrative officers, is seeing if we can do a county coordinated planning service, so a shared service model. So with planning services, it would look like this: is the county would hire the planners, and then we would work with each local municipality to have planners assigned to do the type of work that you need. So if you had volumes of work to need one planner, then there'd be one planner that could be based here in Dutton Dunwich at least 3 or 4 days a week, making sure that your services are met. If that goes up or down, then the number of staff that are assigned here can also change. So you're only paying for the services you actually need. We've done consultation with Huron County, Middlesex, and Oxford County. They all have a similar model. And the feedback, having run these for a couple of years, has been extraordinarily good. Not only are they able to attract planners, but to give them an opportunity for growth and to help develop a variety of different skill sets, which is fulfilling for them on a professional basis. But you also have some bench strength with professional planners that can actually provide the services that you need. And that's becoming increasingly hard to deal with. We're looking at similar models for providing other services that Dutton Dunwich might be looking for, and whether that's occasional, human resource skills or legal services, whatever. If we can help coordinate that in a way that's going to make it more cost effective for your taxpayers, that's what we want to do. Lessens the burden on the taxpayer, provides efficient service that you need. and also provides for the capacity to grow those services if we do realize some of the additional growth that we've talked about tonight. So with planning services, we will be coming forward and trying to build a model for the 2024 budget. This is also meant to be very flexible, that if Dutton Dunwich, wants to run forward, we'd work with both our chief administrative officer and also the existing planner to look at how we transition to that new model. But we could also, if there's another community in Elgin County that wants to delay that because they're in a different place, different time, we can also accommodate that. So we're here to say we're trying to look at different models to be cost effective, but also to make sure we're meeting your longer term needs for growth. And so planning services is one of the first that we'll be dealing with that for 2024. Happy to answer any questions about that. We've got lots of other details in terms of what the other communities have done, but the model works. And so we're looking at trying to move in that direction. Happy to answer any questions, Your Worship.
Thank you for that presentation. Are there any questions on that? Deputy Mayor Loveland.
Yeah, in my past life, I was involved a little bit with the Southhold West Elgin joint planning services, and I think that worked at the time. It was only for a 1-year period, but certainly I think with the problems we have with employee retention and hunting a good one, there's some merit in going on. I guess my big concern is I don't want to see all of the planning responsibility moved to the county, of course. I think, zoning and official plan should still stay here with their final approval. I think that system has worked fairly well here, but that's sort of my feelings.
Thank you for the comments. The 3 counties that we consulted with, the way they manage that is the planners are actually, their offices are actually in the local communities. And the way the planning legislation in the province of Ontario works is we with that sort of a model, you can actually delegate authority so that the types of things that you just described could be not only continue to be done here, but they can also take on some additional responsibilities to reduce one step in the approval. You don't have to go back up to another meeting at county council. They could actually be given the authority as a delegated responsibility, and then your citizen get a faster response. But there'd be every indication that the work that's being done here and that needs local input, that's why they're actually here in the building. Who's paying their paycheck is not so important as making sure that the services are delivered in a way that your community needs and is responsive to that.
Any other comments from council on that issue? I think we all recognize that every municipality has trouble finding staff, qualified staff, in an ever increasingly more complex world. Getting that level of talent, and especially on our budget, it's tough. So I think this has a lot of merit, and there's a lot of exciting things and good things that could help Dutton Dunwich and financially help Dutton Dunwich, which our treasurer is all over. So anyway, thank you for a very informative presentation. I'm excited about it. I think it's a direction we have to head. And we're taking a look, and I'm glad to see it. It's not just Dutton Dunwich and Southhold and Central Elgin. It's Elgin County. We're in this together, and the more shared service we can have, I think helps the taxpayer. And that's important to everyone around this table. Anything further from staff? Any questions? Okay. Thank you very much. Very informative.
Thank you very much for your time. Enjoyed being here tonight. We'll be in touch. Thanks.
Thank you.
Carrie.
Is the door outside locked? Do I have to go through this?
No, you can go that. You can go that. I locked the side door.
So I'm going to take my wife home.
Oh, you can get to work. Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Good night, guys.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Carolyn.
Go home with you though. Likes it here.
Okay, we're going to move on to the drainage department. John and Brent, come on to the hot seat, and Clerk Tara, if you would, we'll consider the engineer's report for the Donald Elmer drain first.
Moved by Drulard, seconded by Pemberton, that the meeting to consider the engineer's report for the Donald Lumley Drain opens at 5:34 PM. All in favor? And that's carried.
Set. Okay. This is the meeting to consider the report for the Donald Lumley Drain dated September 20, 2023, that was submitted to council by the engineer John Spreet of Spreet Associates. The purpose of this meeting is to allow the landowners and other affected parties to be given the opportunity to voice their concerns relating to any aspects of this report. I would ask that any affected parties present, please make us aware of your attendance now for the record. There is a sheet at the back, but I don't see anybody. Matters dealing specifically with assessments, including where any land or road has been assessed too high or too low, any land or road that should have been assessed but has not been, or the land use was not duly considered, will be dealt with by the Court of Revision at a date to be determined after the passing of the provisional bylaw. Was everyone notified of this meeting to consider the report of the engineer in an appropriate way that were required to be notified under the Drainage Act?
Yes, on October 12th, 2023, all landowners and affected parties required to be notified under Section 42 of the Drainage Act were sent by regular mail notice of the date and time and location of this meeting. The notice included a copy of the report of the engineer for the Donald Lumley Drain dated September 20th, 2023.
Thank you. I would ask that Engineer John Spreet present his report.
Thank you, Your Worship. Tonight's meeting is the consideration of the Donald Lumley Drain. It's a Section 78 report. It's an existing drain. The portion that we're working on was last replaced in 1974. What we're proposing to do today or under this report is to reconstruct the closed tile drain in the lands south of County Road number 3. So through the DeVries lands, the Myers lands, and the small lands. So we're going to replace the existing drain, which is too small and undersized, in the landowners south of County Road 3. Mr. Myers and Mr. Small have initiated this work. We're proposing to install a new tile drain, closed tile drain, starting at the open ditch in DeVries lands, and run with a 600 millimeter to a 400 millimeter tile, various points of the drain, new road crossing on the branch under County Road 3 to get into the small farms lands, and a new catch basin on the south side of County Road 3 on the other small lands. Does anybody have any questions?
Any council questions? See any landowners virtually or nobody present? Any questions or concerns? See none. For a mover and a second, the resolution to provisionally adopt bylaw 2023-6 during this meeting.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Loveland, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich will adopt provisional bylaw 2023-66 at this meeting. All in favor? And that's carried.
The clerk will be mailing a copy of bylaw 2023-66 provisionally passed tonight to all landowners and affected parties as required by Section 46 of the Drainage Act. The Court of Revision for the Donald Lumley Drain will be held on November 22, 2023 at 5 p.m. Any owner of land assessed for the drainage works may appeal to the Court of Revision on any of the following grounds. Any land or road that has been assessed an amount that is too high or too low, any land or road that should have been assessed and has not been assessed, due consideration has not been given to the use being made of the land, by written notice setting out the grounds of the appeal at least 10 days before the first sitting of the Court of Revision to the clerk of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich. And further, under Section 48 of the Drainage Act, any owner of land or any public utility affected by drainage works may appeal to the tribunal on other aspects of this drainage works, and in every case, a notice of appeal shall be served within 40 days of the mailing of the provisional bylaw with the clerk of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich. A fact sheet titled Drainage Act Appeals, the forms required to file an appeal with regards to this drain are available on the OMAFRA website and upon request at the municipal office. If you have any questions regarding this drain or any other municipal drain in the municipality of Dutton Dunwich, please contact our drainage superintendent, Brent Clutterbuck, at the municipal office. Okay. Go ahead, Clerk Tara.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Drulard, that the meeting to consider the engineer's report for the Donald Lumley Drain closes at 5:40 PM. All in favor? And that's carried. Moved by Drulard, seconded by Dreyfus, that the regular meeting end to sit as a court of revision for the Brown Drain at 5:40 PM. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you.
One more. And moved by Loveland, seconded by Dreyfus, that the meeting of the Court of Revision to hold a public meeting for the Brown Drain opens at 5:40 PM. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, everyone received a copy of the minutes of the previous quarter revision that was held on October 11th, 2023. Are there any changes required with that? I see none. We will adopt the minutes of the October 11th meeting as presented to council. Okay. A lot of reading. This is the Court of Revision as required by the Drainage Act to forward any person assessed in the Brown Drain provisionally adopted by bylaw 2023-61 on September 28, 2023. To make an appeal with respect to their assessments on the grounds of the land or road has been assessed too high or too low. Land or road should have been assessed but was not. Due consideration has not been given to the land's use. I would ask that any landowner and interested properties present that are assessed to this drain, please sign the attendance sheet that is being circulated. Was everyone notified in an appropriate way that are required to be notified under the Drainage Act?
Yes, on Wednesday, October 4th, 2023, all parties required to be notified under Section 46 of the Drainage Act were sent by regular mail or email a copy of the provisional bylaw with the notice of the sitting of this Court of Revision. This notice also informed all landowners of the Drainage Act requirement to notify the clerk in writing of an appeal to the Court of Revision 10 days before the first sitting of the Court of Revision.
Did the clerk receive any appeals in writing 10 days prior to this sitting of this Court of Revision from any assessed landowners?
No.
Okay. There's a decision to be made.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Pemberton, that the Court of Revision accepts the assessment for the Brown Drain. All in favor? And that's carried. Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Drulard, that the meeting of the Court of Revision for the Brown Drain closes at 5:43 PM. All in favor? And that's carried. Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Pemberton, that the regular meeting of council reconvenes at 5:43 PM. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you, Clerk Tara. Okay, items B under drainage is appoint the engineer, the Keeler Improvement Drain. Thank you, John. And the Wallet Street Drain. Brent, do you want to speak to that now?
Oh, other than we received notice back from Lower Thames Conservation Authority, they required an environmental appraisal. No, we did receive correspondence back from Lower Thames Conservation Authority saying they did not require an environmental appraisal. So we can now appoint the engineer and start moving forward with an on-site meeting to deal with the requesters' concerns. So.
Thank you. Clerk Tara, there's no further discussion on that.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Drulard, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich appoints Spreed Associates Limited to prepare the necessary report for the section 78 petition for the Keeler Improvement Drain and/or Wallace Street Drain filed by Clarence and Francis Shelley, and that notice of council's decision to appoint the engineer be sent to the requester, Lower Thames Valley Conservation Authority, OMAFRA, and Spreed Associates Limited. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. I am having computer issues for some reason. Okay. We are going to go to item 7 on the agenda, which is our planning department. Yeah, your job is done here, Brent. I think, right?
Yeah, he's under other staff reports.
Item A is an application for zoning bylaw amendment ZBA 06/23. It's 239 Miller Road, Municipality of Dutton Dunwich, the Thames Valley District School Board. Clerk Tara?
Moved by Drulard, seconded by Loveland, that the public meeting for zoning bylaw amendment application moved by Pemberton, seconded by Loveland, that the public meeting for zoning bylaw amendment application ZBA 06/23 filed by the Thames Valley District School Board for property located at 239 Miller Road opens at 5:46 PM. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, I'm going to turn it over to our planner, Tracy, who is joining us virtually to give us a report on that. Planner Tracy, go ahead.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor. So before you is a zoning bylaw amendment application submitted by the school board, who is the property owner. This was a condition of land division for a lot line adjustment that severed off a small piece of landlocked land to be added to the abutting lands, which is Agris. So the exact area is about 0.2 acres or 800, or I guess, oh, that might be an error on the size, but it's a very small sliver. And the piece that's being retained is the school. There will be a fence erected. And as a condition of consent, the zoning bylaw amendment was circulated. There were no concerns brought up. There was a last minute letter received by the Conservation Authority that indicated that they had no objections. So what's happening is that the zoning for that small strip of land that's currently zoned institutional will be zoned to match the Agris zoning, which will be M4 or Village Industrial M4. And then the lands that will be retained will stay institutional, and the little sliver will merge on title. So administration recommends that this application be approved.
Thank you. Does council have any questions on this one? I see none, so Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Dreyfus, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich appoints, that is not planning. Moved by Loveland, seconded by Dreyfus, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the planner titled Application for Zoning Bylaw Amendment ZBA 06/23, 239 Miller Road, Municipality of Dutton Dunwich, Thames Valley District School Board, dated October 25th, 2023, for information. And that council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich approves zoning bylaw amendment ZBA 06/23 for property located at 239 Curry Road from institutional I zone to village industrial M4 zone. in accordance with the site-specific bylaw. All in favor? And that's carried. And moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Pemberton, that the public meeting for zoning bylaw amendment application ZBA 0623 filed by Thames Valley District School Board for property located at 239 Miller Road closes at 5:49 PM. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. Okay, item B, under planning. So an application for zoning bylaw amendment ZBA 10/23 at 27936 Chalmers Line, Municipality of Dutton Dunwich. Adam McCollum. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Loveland, that the public meeting for zoning bylaw amendment application ZBA 10/23 filed by Adam McCollum for property located at 27936 Chalmers Line opens at 5:50 PM. All in favor? And that's carried.
Planner Tracy, your report, please.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. So this application is also an application that was a condition of a land division committee decision for a surplus dwelling farm split. There's an existing dwelling located on the property and one accessory structure. The application was to sever the existing house and retain 103 acres of farm. As a condition of severance, a zoning bylaw amendment was circulated. There were no concerns. Water did mention that there was no municipal water fronting onto this property. Therefore, they didn't have any concerns. And some last minute Conservation Authority comments did come in this afternoon, and they confirmed that they have no objections. However, the lands are regulated, and anytime that there's any site alterations, they will need a permit. So what will happen is the current zoning is A3. The condition is that the severed parcel will be rezoned to a site-specific zoning bylaw amendment for a special rural residential RS zone. And that will include that no farm uses will be allowed, and there'll be relief for that maximum lot area. And the maximum is approximately 8,000 square meters, and this property is a little bit bigger, it's 12,000 square meters. And the retained piece, the farm, will be put into a special agricultural A2 zone, which will prohibit any new residential uses in the future. So administration recommends that this application be approved, and happy to answer any questions at the appropriate time.
Okay, we got ahead of ourselves a little bit here, so I have a script on this one. It is a public meeting. So we've already heard the report. This is a public meeting as required by Section 34 of the Planning Act to afford any person an opportunity to make representation with respect to a proposed zoning bylaw amendment to rezone the subject property from large lot agricultural A3 zone to special agricultural A2 zone and exceptional special rural residential RS-29 zone. The subject property is locally known as 12714 Curry Road in the municipality of Dutton Dunwich. Does any member of council have a disclosure of interest concerning these proposals? I see none. What method of notice and when was the notice given to the public for this meeting?
A sign was posted on the subject property by the October 4th deadline, and notices were mailed to property owners within 120 meters of the subject property on October 6, 2023.
Thank you. Have you received any comments from staff?
Yes, and they're summarized in the planner's report.
Did you receive any written submissions on this application?
Yes, and they're summarized in the planner's report.
Before I open the floor to questions from the public, please be advised if any person from the public wishes to receive further information on the action of council regarding the passing of a bylaw on the proposed amendment, please ensure that they leave their name, address, and postal code with the clerk prior to leaving the meeting. Anyone from the public here? I don't see anything. We have Adam McCollum with us. And you're a member of the public. Any questions? Okay, and there's nobody virtually. If there are no further questions, please be advised that any person wishing further information on the actions of council should leave their name, address, and postal code with the clerk prior to leaving the meeting. If you're not the applicant, you should request a copy of the decision since it may be appealed to the Ontario Land Tribunal by the applicant or another member of the public. The last day to appeal is November 16, 2023. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Drulart, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the planner titled Application for Zoning Bylaw Amendment ZBA 10/23 27936 Chalmers Line, Municipality of Dutton Dunwich, Adam McCollum, dated October 25th, 2023 for information, and that Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich approves zoning bylaw amendment ZBA 10/23 for property located at 27936 Chalmers Line from large lot agricultural A3 zone to special agricultural A2 zone and exception special rural residential RS-29 zone in accordance with the site-specific bylaw. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. This public meeting is now concluded. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Drulard, seconded by Dreyfus, that the public meeting for zoning bylaw amendment application ZBA 10/23 filed by Adam McCollum for property located at 27936 Chalmers Line closes at 5:55 PM. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay. That was easy, Adam. Good night. Hey, set, Karen. Item C in planning is an update on the downtown community improvement plan for the municipality of Dutton Dunwich. I believe, Tracy, you're handling that one as well.
Yes, thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor. So this report is just for council's information. As you recall, the Economic Development Committee had expressed some interest in doing a community improvement plan for the downtown portion of Dutton settlement area. Back in June, council authorized staff to proceed with the initiation of a CIP and to have the CIP prepared in-house, guided by the Economic Development Committee. So the project officially kicked off in July and literally hit the road running. The committee spent the evening doing a walking tour of the downtown, and we have happy to report that we are on target for our milestones and our timelines. I've included a copy of the committee's work plan, so council is aware of sort of what will happen, some of the deliverables when we will come back to council for any particular decisions. So the study area has also been identified and it's attached as a key map in the report. You'll see as well that there's a postcard, and I've included the front and the back of the postcard in the report to show council the marketing and promotional materials. The QR code will direct everybody to the town website. There's a dedicated landing page that has all the information about the CIP, some of the timelines, and a survey that we are asking residents, visitors, and businesses to all complete. And it's very simple. It just really asks people, like, what do they think of the downtown? What do they see as improvements for the downtown, and any comments? So far, we've received 17, actually probably about 17 comments from residents and about 3 or 4 comments from businesses. No visitors yet. So the committee is at about stage 6 or step 6 of the work plan, which is at the public engagement and commenting collection. So what we are asking council is to help us promote that QR code as often as possible. Anybody you're talking to, who either businesses or visitors or residents that would like to give us feedback, we would appreciate you promoting that. And we have 3 open houses scheduled. Those notices will be going out at the end of the week. And then in the newspaper, either next week or the week after, there'll be 3 open houses on November 29th at the Weds Theatre Hall. There'll be a morning session, an afternoon session, and evening session. So we're going to want to try to get people to come out and just create a conversation about, again, getting those comments. We will anticipate that the final report, once we kind of pull all of the ideas together, will be ready after Christmas, and we hope that the final report will be before council for final decision in March of 2024. So again, happy to answer any questions, and don't forget when you're looking at that 2024 budget to include possibly some funding for grants and loans. Thanks.
Thank you. Any questions from council on this item? Did I see our CAO treasurer's hand go up?
No, nope.
No, I think she was picking money out of the tree for our grants and loans program, right?
She came to attention when you mentioned money. Okay. Thank you very much, Tracy. Before you go, Tracy, oh, I lost her. I just wanted to make a comment. Tracy, are you still with us?
Yes, here I am.
I just want to make a comment that I went to an open house at Agris Co-op here, and I talked to the general manager, Jim Campbell, and nothing but positive to say about our drainage department and our planning department in helping move that project forward. They're very appreciative and very thankful to how Dutton Dunwich moves things along. So I just wanted to make sure you heard that. Go ahead, Councillor Dreyfus.
Oh, I have something too.
Yeah, I'll just make one more comment. I spent the last 2 days in planning well, yesterday was a foundation of planning, and then today was an advanced training session. And there were 18 participants in the group that I was involved with. And so the question was asked about their official plan, when the last time it was updated. 14 out of the 18 municipalities that were represented did not have an official plan update in the last 10 years. So there was one municipality that was 40 years since they had an official plan. And so I think we beat ourselves over the head in our municipality, but we need to commend our planning department and our staff for keeping us up to date, because I was actually quite impressed, actually. So I felt like we were right on target with the curve. So
Anything further? Yeah, go ahead, Tracy.
Tracy, I was trying to catch Mike's attention before the county, but it was going very quickly because we were behind. But do you have any comments on moving planning to the county? Just your
Thanks.
thoughts.
Yeah, I think that Dutton is already very busy and will be getting much busier with development applications as we grow, especially now that we know that there are some growth needs. I think council needs to consider more in terms of level of service. I think we can do more. We can support economic development, heritage, development, forecasting, mapping, data collection. We could do so much more for the municipality, and having a county team of planners at your access, I think provides a really good opportunity for a level of service. We mentioned succession planning, there's that team environment, there's just really good backup in case someone goes on vacation, sick time, leaves of absence. To address Councillor Loveland's comment, you'll not see anything change at your level. You'll still have the same control, and you'll still have the same powers under the Planning Act to make decisions. It's really just where that support for you comes from. And if anything, and CAO Don mentioned that there's opportunities there for streamlining, and I've always thought that there's such great opportunities to be able to move like a severance application and a zoning application into like one combined application. So your severances, they only have to come to you once, and that just means land division delegates some of those authorities to you. The county planner essentially will come and write that report and address both at the exact same time. So I think it just works really well. And we've got 3 other counties that are using that model. And as Councillor Loveland mentioned, or sorry, Deputy Mayor Loveland, you know, you had already experienced it when Southwold and West Elgin and yourselves were working with a shared planner. And I think that there's great opportunities for, so keep an open mind. And I think that, you know, it's about level of service and making sure that we can get services that will help support you in making your decisions as we grow.
Okay. Thank you, Tracy, and thank you, Brent. And this comes a big thank you from Agris Co-op. With council's approval, I'm gonna try and cut Brent loose here. We'll jump to item number 12, which is other staff reports, but there are tender results. So Brent, thank you for your patience.
Anything, yeah.
Okay, that was received in the package. Brent, any comments on the tender results, the Allen McCollum drain, Gordon Little drain?
Just through you, Mayor, and to the rest of council, both those tenders came back very favorable. And just as so you're aware, this is the same company that constructed the drain on Dude Ranch Hill on Aaron Line.
Okay.
And they've done, that's the first time they worked for us was on Dude Ranch Hill, but they have done other projects for Spreet and other municipalities, so.
Good to know. Any questions from council? I see none. Clerk Tara, please.
I'm just gonna go back to the planning
Okay.
report and do that resolution before we move forward. Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Pemberton, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the planner titled Update on Downtown Community Improvement Plan CIP for the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich, dated October 11th, 2023 for information. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you.
And then back down to drainage. Moved by Loveland, seconded by Dreyfus, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the Drainage Superintendent titled Tender Results, Allen McCollum Drain, Gordon Little Drain, Tile Drain Portion, dated October 25th, 2023 for information, and that Council award McNally Excavating the contract for the construction of the Allen McCollum Drain, Gordon Little Drain, Tile Drain Portion in the amount of $201,600 plus HST, and further that council instructs the mayor and clerk to sign the contract and forward a copy to the contractor. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. And item B is the tender results of the Leach McCann drain. Any comments on that one, Brent?
Just repeat of what I said on the first tender.
Okay. Anything from council on that? See none. Clerk Tara, resolution, please.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Loveland, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the Drainage Superintendent titled Tender Results Leach McCann Drain, dated October 25th, 2023 for information, and that council award McNally Excavating Limited the contract for the construction of the Leach McCann Drain in the amount of $108,360 plus HST, and further that council instructs the mayor and clerk to sign the contract and forward a copy to the contractor. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you, and thank you, Brent.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks, Brian.
Good. We're going to backtrack and deal with correspondence. Item 8 on your agenda. The first item is the Township of West Lincoln challenges faced by smaller developers in Ontario communities. Does anybody want to discuss that issue? I see nothing. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Drouillard, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich supports the letter from the Township of West Lincoln regarding issues and challenges for small developers and communities with respect to holding back of development applications of new homes and that a copy of this resolution and the letter be forwarded to Rob Flack, MPP, Karen Vecchio, MP, and the Township of West Lincoln. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. And the town of Wasaga Beach, illegal car rally, a provincial task force. Any comments from council on that issue? First I've heard of it, but anyway, go ahead, Clerk Tara.
Moved by Drewlard, seconded by Loveland, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich supports the resolution from the town of Wasaga Beach requesting that a provincial task force be assembled to create a municipal response framework to protect communities from unsanctioned car rallies, with a mandate to include, but not limited to, investigate legislative enhancements and tools to assist municipalities in responding and enforcing unsanctioned car rallies, investigate expanded powers for municipal law enforcement officers, develop a proactive approach to awareness, prevention, enforcement officers, and across all enforcement personnel, including police, municipal law enforcement officers, and other provincial offenses officers. Investigate harsher penalties and increase fines for unsanctioned car rally organizers and participants. And that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to Rob Flack, MPP, Karen Vecchio, MP, and the town of Wasaga Beach. All in favor? And that's carried.
Item C is the Township of McKellar, a call for amendment to the Legislation Act. Everybody received that notice? Any questions or comments on it? I think it's just modernizing some legislation. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Dreyfus, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich supports the resolution of the township of McKellar requesting the provincial government to make an amendment to the Legislation Act 2006 to include digital publications as an acceptable means of publication and notice requirements for provincial acts and regulations. And that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to Rob Flack, MPP, Karen Vecchio, MP, and the township of McKellar. All in favor? And that's carried.
Item D, the Township of East Hawkesbury, support for Bill 21, fixing long-term care amendment, till death do us part. Any comments from council on that one? Go ahead, Clerk Tara.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Drewlard, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich supports the resolution of the township of East Hawkesbury supporting Bill 21, amending the Residence Bill of Rights set out in Section 3 of the Fixing Long-Term Care Act 2021 by adding the right of residents not to be separated from their spouse upon admission and to have accommodation made available for both spouses so that they may continue to live together, and that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to Rob Flack, MPP, Karen Vecchio, MP, and the township of East Hawkesbury. All in favor? And that's carried.
And request from Elgin County for support to grant application to the Federal Economic Development Agency for Southern Ontario. And some of this has to do with what we've just heard from Don and Carolyn. So anything further from council? Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Drewlard, seconded by Pemberton, whereas the recent developments in electric vehicle battery productions and increasing interest in development opportunities affects all municipalities across Elgin County, and that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich supports Elgin County's grant application to the Federal Economic Development Agency for Southern Ontario to develop an investment attraction strategy. All in favor? And that's carried. Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Loveland, that relevant correspondence was reviewed. All in favor? And that's carried.
What's council's feeling? We soldier on? Okay. Number 9 is the consent agenda. We're going to deal with them all together, but if council wants to discuss any one of them. I'm just going to go through them and read them for anyone that might be listening. The correspondence was from Elgin County Council highlights, October 10th, 2023. The SCORE EDC Fall 2023 newsletter, Dutton Dunwich Softball Association 50/50 raffle, a Wallacestown Agricultural Society letter, a thank you letter, and the Ministry of Finance, the 2024 Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund, OMPF. Anything from council on those items? Councillor Dreyfus.
Just a quick shout out to the Dutton Dunwich or the Softball Association for the 50/50 raffle. They continue to raise money. And they're trying to find every way they can to do it. So I think we just need to continue to promote their efforts and support them. So
I would just like to speak to the Wallacestown Agricultural Society on what a terrific fair they had again. And they are very appreciative of the help that this council and previous councils has afforded them. And I think it's very important. There's so many people have come into our community to attend the Wallacestown Fair, and it's so well run, and they work so hard on it. I just want to thank all those people that keep that thing going, where other rural fairs, you know, they struggle or they're not there anymore. So.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Pemberton, that the items on the consent agenda be approved. All in favor? And that's carried.
That is council's call.
Yeah, okay. I just
He's
wanted
the
to
one
make sure,
putting stuff around. So
yeah,
Yeah, it's.
just because
whatever you guys would like to do.
Cheryl is involved in that. You're okay?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Item 10 is the clerk's report. Clerk Tara, everybody received her report, but do you want to speak to it?
So this report kind of came up because we were getting some questions about staff time being allocated to council committees and how municipal staff are involved in the committees and council member involvement in each of the committees. So it's just, I can do a review of all of these for you, or if you guys are happy with the terms of reference that I've included with my report, I can get those reviewed and updated so that they're more kind of the same across the board. You do use the procedural bylaw as how the meetings should be run. These are committees of council, so you guys are the ones that are making these meetings or sorry, making these committees or putting committees together. It's just an evaluation of each of them and their usefulness. Any comments are welcome.
Councillor Dreyfus.
I'm not going to speak for all the committees, but I will speak for the Heritage Committee. I feel like we need to review the terms of reference there and maybe get the committee input for the terms of reference as well as to the purpose of the committee. I'm finding that it's not necessary to meet every month, and we could maybe shrink that down a little bit. And I also feel that they're a little bit exhausted. They're involved in other parts of the community as well, where they're completely involved, and we don't have enough people on this committee to I guess sustain all the stuff that, well, I mean the things that they want to do, but we just can't do. So I think we need to look at it and maybe seek a little more direction from the committee and maybe change the expectations just a little bit. That's just my viewpoint. But I think if we bring this to our committee, I think you'll get some pretty positive feedback. So that would be my advice there. So.
Okay, so you will bring something back from your committee to council then?
I think what our last meeting, what I'll do is I'll table it with them and then see where they want to go with it. So, yeah.
Thank you for those comments. Anything further? Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Drulard, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the clerk titled Council Committee's Evaluation dated October 25th, 2023 for information, and that council directs staff to review and update terms of reference for each of the committees of council and provide suggested updates for approval. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, thank you. Item 11 is our CAO Treasurer's Report, September 30th, 2023 financial report.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Just the same report that you get monthly, our change, I've added the balance sheet so you can see the change in the our assets. They've gone up, but it's because we paid the county and the school boards their share of what we owed them, which is coming off our assets. Change in debt would be our monthly principal payments. Change in the line of credit. As for the operating statement, nothing glaring is standing out at this point. We, a few things we don't have, like arena board. We haven't got a invoice from West Elgin yet. Timing of receipts are kind of throwing things off. But if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Any question from council? I see nothing. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Drulard, seconded by Dreyfus, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the CAO treasurer titled September 2023 financial report dated October 25th, 2023 for information. All in favor? And that's carried.
Item B, emergency repairs to the vent track sidewalk plow, and I believe Tracy, you're going to deal with that one. Thank you.
Through you, Mayor. Yes, this actually came about in our capital budget meeting. They had put in an optional capital project for a new vent track at the cost of $55,000, or we can fix the for this existing one for $15,000. Did reach out and got some explanations of what has happened, and it's just one of those, I call them a Friday vehicle. It's something that wasn't because staff wasn't maintaining it, or it was just an injection failure that it just happened. It's got 900 working hours, I believe, on it, and it's 4 years old. And unfortunately, because of the hours are okay under warranty, but we've gone past with the 4 years, so it's not under warranty. But this is also not part of my budget, so this is an actual emergency budget item that I'm bringing forward to council. So, questions, comments?
Anything from council on that item? Councilor Dreyfus.
Yeah, I don't know where we go with. Obviously, we have to move forward and get this repaired, and we did discuss it in our budget meeting. I guess what my concern my question is regarding regular service maintenance, and engines typically go because they're not maintained, but I'm not saying that that's what the problem is that I'm wondering how we handle maintenance, who reports to who, and when is service, how is service managed on a regular basis by our staff? And I'm not accusing anybody here. I'm just wondering, what is our protocol? What structure do we use? What system do we use? And who's accountable to who? That's we don't like to hear, and our ratepayers don't like to hear of a blown engine. It's just something we have to justify, and I'd like to be able to justify it somehow. So I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, Mr. Mayor. So what I've gotten from the whole thing was it's regularly serviced and maintenance items are kept up to date, and an injection failure is not operated cause failure. It is a piece of equipment failure. So in this particular incident, this is not staff problem, but as for the other things, I can certainly get reports from Murray of the details of the maintenance of the vehicles. But I think I've questioned enough people on this that I know it was not because we didn't maintain it. But that's certainly something that,
I'm not,
should be available to council of the maintenance
I'm not challenging,
yeah, yeah.
I'm not challenging you in any way, shape or form here. It's, yeah, but sometimes I think there's credence in, and I know my own personal experience in my business, like I had 15 vehicles and we ran into blown engines, and it was a case where, our people weren't looking after their vehicles. So we actually had to have a third party do oil changes on scheduled maintenance, and it kept everybody honest. And I don't know if we need to do this here in this case, but I'm just raising the concern because we're fighting to buy tools, and then we have a bill of 15 grand to, to deal with this sort of thing. So that's all I'm going to say is that if we could look into it, at least I think that would be prudent.
I agree, and as an operating garage, they should have a schedule of their maintenance, so that should be readily available. And we could certainly bring that back to council as a kind of maybe even added to the monthly reports of those kind of things. We can look into how that could be shown. Yep, for sure.
I did have the same concerns, Councillor Dreyfus, and Murray and I did speak on this issue. Kubota is good equipment. It lasts. And this one, it got to my attention because I have small diesels at home that 900 hours isn't a lot of time on it. Maintenance schedule is religiously followed, according to Murray. They have a tracking system, but he should come and talk to council about that. This is one of them things that it is at Podolinsky's. It's been tore down. One cylinder, the rings broke. And they believe at this point that they had a faulty injector and was filling that cylinder full of diesel fuel and busted the rings and scored the cylinder to the point where they can't hone it out. So we're into a new engine. He did speak to the Kubota people about this too, and we're out of warranty, which is unfortunate. And there's no good explanation, but I think we can safely say that's not a lack of maintenance. Okay, but I think we need to have that cleared up, and we also need to find out what actually happened to that engine as well. Okay. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Pemberton, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the CAO treasurer titled Emergency Repairs Ventrac Sidewalk Plow dated October 25th, 2023 for information, and that council authorize a transfer of $15,000 from the roads purposes reserve to cover the emergency repairs needed to fix the Ventrac sidewalk plow. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. Item C is an opportunity to share a GIS asset management position. Go ahead with that.
Through you, Mayor Hens. Yeah, so back in early this year, I started kind of having discussions with the CAO of South Hold and West Elgin about maybe sharing an GIS asset management person. It'd be a third each. We all are in need of this, and with Malahide losing their GIS person and us needing to have our underground digitally available for locates coming very soon. GIS is very important. I think that, and we all will be using the same asset management software, so the opportunity to share a position instead of us all getting one is kind of it's financially sustainable, I believe. But as I say, this needs to kind of be brought to council so that I can maybe throw the citywide in the capital. So there's no sense of putting the citywide into the capital if we're not gonna have staff that can use it. So it's kind of maybe putting the cart before the horse, but we can't have one, one without the other. And so Lisa's already got approval for this position through her council. But then so then we will tell her whether we're gonna help share in the cost or not, depending on what this council's thoughts are. So.
Any questions from council? Go ahead.
I guess we all realize we're probably considerably behind in asset management. We need to get that caught up and back up to speed. I would rather, I guess, have a look at the budget before we make that final decision. But I guess in this particular case, I'm probably supportive of going ahead.
Anything else from council? You know, we've discussed asset management for years now, and it's not something that we might do or think it's a good idea. We have to do it. Okay, and time is of the essence, and we need help. So we'll put that in the budget and move forward and make a decision when we approve budgets, I guess. Is that acceptable, Tracy?
Yeah, yeah, it is. So
Fair enough.
Well, I can speak, just in our budget committee meeting, the asset management plan is in the like it's proposed in the budget. We've discussed it. And this is hinged on whether we move forward with the asset management plan. But one thing that came out in the planning, the planning thing today was, you will have to do this. It's a reality. So we have to move forward. So.
oh, so
Yeah, and we've, like I said, we've discussed it, and I agree, we need to look at budget and everything else. I think the opportunity is there to share this, and it's a third of the cost. Something to keep in mind, though, with this position, you'll likely be looking for a summer student to help out that will help out map these GIS things as well, a GIS tech of some sort, but you get co-op student from that fairly cheap from colleges and stuff like that. But I think the resolution says we should move forward, like agrees to this tonight. So I guess I don't know, do we wait for budget or do we look at it and move forward knowing we have to do it one way or another?
And I guess a question for Tracy, you've met with Magda and Lisa, time is of the essence on this one?
well, I mean, Lisa's already got approval. She has a staff member because she knows that she needs this position, right? But they already own the software. If we don't get asset management software, then we don't need the position. But in the long run, you're gonna probably save money if you've got an asset management plan that's giving you strategic financial planning. So that if we don't have this, we don't have the staff right now to do asset management. So if we're not going to hire somebody, then there's no sense of buying the software. And that's all, that's the only reason this is in front of us.
Yeah.
I don't care one way or the other, but there's no sense of putting one thing in the capital budget if we don't have somebody to actually use it, because that's a waste of money too, right? So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know you do care. I know you do care about it. You made that comment, but that's not true because it falls on our CAO and she's got enough irons in the fire without this one. And
That's what I meant. It just won't get done because
well,
I can't do
you
it.
you can't do it. And we all recognize that, and the supports around this table to see this happen. Okay? Tara, please.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Drulart, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the CAO Treasurer titled Opportunity to Share a GIS Asset Management Position dated October 25th, 2023 for information, and that council authorize staff to enter into an agreement with Southwold for sharing this specialist position. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. And prior to budget, the employee 2024 wage COLA adjustment. Go ahead,
So maybe
Tracy.
these came at the wrong order. So I just asked for staff and then I asked for the COLA. So this is just coming to you before I start the budget process because as you know, the salaries and benefits are a big part of the budget. So it's nice to start with what you're gonna be at. So based on our budget policy, it's, if we start out at the low end is 75% of the CPI, to a maximum of 125. So the 75, the lowest and 75%, comes in at 2.85% increase for cost of living for staff. So just looking for, this approval to get the budget process started. It's pre-approval for 2024, but it's just nice to have that out of the way and for budgeting.
Council comments. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
I guess this is probably the minimum we should be looking at. And probably seems somewhat strange when I say this, but I am concerned that, especially in the road department, where you're having trouble maintaining staff there. And I think one of the main reasons is the fact that our pay rate hasn't kept up with some of the private sector there. So I know last year we went higher than this. I wouldn't be opposed to making it rounding off at 3% and maybe hopping a little bit that way.
I did do a wage comparison and I know even with the increase that we got last year, we are still well under the surrounding municipalities' salaries. So yeah, that's why we're finding it hard to keep our staff. But also we have to keep tax rate in line. So it's like, it is a problem when the surrounding municipalities are doing the same jobs and getting paid more. They tend to jump ship and go to other municipalities and yeah. So.
Go ahead, Councillor Pember.
Yeah, and as much as I was the stick in the mud last year to make sure this got brought back to council, and thank you, Tracy, for doing that. I would agree with Deputy Mayor Loveland to move it up to that 3% just to try and keep in line with what other comparators are paying.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with the comments of Councillor Pemberton or Deputy Mayor Loveland. But the other piece of that is when we're comparing, we also need to consider that in those other municipalities that are nearby, that they are also paying union dues, which our employees do not pay, and they are substantial. So when we're comparing, we're probably pretty even.
Anything further from council? I believe Magda and Tracy and Lisa have met a number of times, so I think the information is available there where they're at. And it's not just other municipalities. The private sector is a bigger problem. We're not, and I don't know how we get to that level. So I think as an act of faith in our employees, I tend to agree, let's not go to the minimum. And it may not be a heck of a lot of money, but it sure sounds a lot better to the people that we count on. Councillor Dreyfus.
Yeah, I have no problem with the rate increase. And just getting back to Deputy Mayor Loveland's point, we've had a hard time keeping some staff. I don't know if the exit interviews are telling you anything. But maybe we should investigate a little more of possibly why. I don't know if there's any reasons. I don't know. So I'm just, I mean, we go through this, right? And if it's outside people, companies soliciting employees, we can't, like you're right, we can't match their wages. So yeah. So I'm in support of the 3% for sure.
Do you want to comment on the exit interviews? They are getting done.
They are confidential, but I can tell you that both recent people left. We're very, very happy here. Very happy with the work environment. It came down to being able to live. So, yeah. So
I don't know where our salary would be on a roads employee, but you can get a job in construction for $40 to $50 an hour, which I know is at least $10 above where we're at. That's the situation that we find ourselves in every municipality.
Yeah, and I think that's where municipalities have to, we have to start offering things outside the box that we can't offer the salaries. We just can't. You can't do that to the tax rate. So that's why you have to offer like things like, you know, work from home 1 day a week or different things like that, flex hours, something that's going to appeal to their work-life balance, because we can't just rely on giving them more money, because that's just not sustainable. So I think that's where we have to think outside the box and make people enjoy coming to work and having some perks on the side, because the money's just not there. So
Anything further from council? We're not alone in this. Every municipality is struggling. Clerk Tara, please.
Moved by Drewlard, seconded by Loveland, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the CAO treasurer titled Employee 2024 Wage COLA Adjustment dated October 25th, 2023 for information, and that council pre-approved the COLA of 3% based on September 2023 CPI for the 2024 budget and applied to employee wages effective January 1st of the 2024 year. All in favor? And that's carried.
Item 13, any unfinished business? Nothing? New business, Economic Development Committee members. Anybody speaking to that? Councillor Dryfoot, you want to comment?
Yeah, we just had a few members leave the committee for other reasons, that they're just busy and they're doing other, like Kelsey's more involved with the fair board in the next year, and Nancy has other commitments, and Ashley was a great asset to our committee, but she is finishing her, she's doing her studying, and she has to be done by the end of the year. So she just couldn't dedicate the time to it at this point in time. So we have new members that have stepped up, and we can move forward with that. So we got a great committee, and it's working well. So, yep.
Thank you. I think with all our committees, we see a number of people that do everything. You know, they're involved in multiple committees, and I think there's a sense of burnout as well on some of these things. Go ahead, Clerk Tara.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Pemberton, that the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich approves the removal of Nancy McKillop, Kelsey McConnell, and Ashley Ross from the Economic Development Committee composition, and that council approves the addition of Caitlin Stoddart and Darlene Ford to the Economic Development Committee composition. All in favor? And
Can
that's
I make a suggestion? Though? Can we just say, instead of saying remove, can we just say resignation? It sounds like we fired him.
sure can.
Definitely accept the resignation.
Good catch. We don't fire anybody. We're real.
All in favor? And that's carried.
Any announcements?
oh, I have one more new business. Who's wanting to get registered for Roma? It's the early registration, so who wants to go?
Yeah, I think I'll go.
I'm sorry, what's the date? I didn't get it. Correspondence on it.
End of January.
This came out,
January 27th, I
yeah,
think,
it's the last.
27th is Saturday?
28th, I think.
28th, 29th, 30th or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
You bring the wolf's head.
Bring two.
I'm already,
Oh, you went through the county, okay.
I'm saving Dutton Dunwich tax dollars. If the county can register me, that's what I
Henry, are
do.
you,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
So you look at first.
Yeah, I'll resend the actual application and everything, so yeah, it just came out.
We got it a while ago and I kind of forgot about it.
Yeah, I think yeah, so, but we'll get it back to you for sure, yep.
Any other announcements? Go ahead, Councillor Pembroke.
Yes, we had Tri-County Water Board meeting last week, and I'm sure Tracy will bring the budget items back to you, but we also did have an election. And I was elected as chair of the Tri-County Water Board, so for the next year. So other than that, yeah, thanks.
For you. Get your buddy sitting close to you, I nominate you.
Well, that's good. And
You're chuckling. Yeah,
the deputy chair is Bill Denning. So close to home. There is some economic realities coming out of that too that we can share in the future with council. Any other announcements? I see nothing. Proposed bylaws. Let's slip through them and then we're going to take a break. Go ahead, Clerk Tara, item A.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Drulard, that bylaw 2023-64 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2022-50 for land municipally known as 239 Miller Road be read a first, second, and third time and passed. All in favor?
Can you remove my name from that? I declared a conflict.
Absolutely. We'll change out Drulard for Dreyfus. All in favor? And that's carried. The next one.
Yep, keep going.
Moved by Drulard, seconded by Dreyfus, that bylaw 2023-65 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2022-50 for land municipally known as 27936 Chalmers Line be read a first, second, and third time and passed. All in favor? And that's carried.
And item C.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Loveland, that bylaw 2023-66 being a bylaw to borrow on the credit of the corporation in the amount of I apologize, I didn't include that number. In the amount of the drain for the improvement of the Donald Lumley drain be read a first and second time and provisionally adopted, and that the Court of Revision be held on November 22nd, 2023 at approximately 5 p.m. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, that brings us to our closed session. We're going to take a 5-minute break. Is that okay?
Chair, get us in the close first.
We'll get us in closed and then you're up.
Rome is 21st to the 23rd of January.
Thank you.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Pemberton, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich now moves into a session of the meeting that shall be closed to the public at 6:47 p.m. in accordance with section 2392 of the Municipal Act SO 2001, Chapter 25 for discussion of the following matters. A, labor relations or employee negotiations, section 2392D of the Municipal Act, Medical Center. B, labor relations or employee negotiations, section 2392D of the Municipal Act, records assistant. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, be back in 5. Tara needs a minute to lock down.
All right, moved by Drewlard, seconded by Dreyfus, that bylaw 2023-67, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the municipal council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich be read a first, second, and third time and passed. All in favor? And that's carried. And moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Pemberton, that the meeting of the council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich closes at 8:11 p.m. All in favor? And that's carried.